well, let's take off, because, you know, people might come in and out, we'll see. So we are talking all about the very non-sexy topic of marketing strategies and action plans. And straight off the get-go, I found that really interesting. Usually when I promote a webinar, people get really excited and they come on board, and I get lots and lots of people coming in. But I found this uptake was incredibly sluggish. And all I can put that down to is that it's not a sexy topic. And try, you know, like, I know there's tons of value in what I do, and try as I may to make it sound as sexy as possible. When you're just talking straight out about the grunt end of the business world, people kind of glaze over and they're not as interested in it. But this is actually where people get the most traction. And this is the difference between having a business that really succeeds and a business that just gets the same results that it gets every year. Because if you don't actually plan ahead, it's just like if you're doing a car trip or going somewhere, you know, you're not just going to jump in the car and point north and hope you hit Brisbane, because you could end up anywhere if you take a wrong turn, and you can get laid off just all over the place. You can just get misled wherever, you know, it's not, you need a direction, you need a path, and you need a focus. And this can only happen when you have a true intimate knowledge of who you are in your business and what you do and what you stand for. So that's what I'm going to be talking to you about today. And people kind of, when we get in front of them and we talk about, and I talk to them about, you know, their strategy and stuff, and I start talking to them, getting really deep and asking them personal questions, they get a bit confronted, and they're like, well, aren't we just going to do a SWOT analysis, and aren't we going to just look at the business? And I'm like, well, no, this is the deep stuff that we need to get into. So I hope you get a lot out of today. And if you've got any questions as we go along, please pop them in the chat, because I will answer them as we do it. So I'm guessing that you're here because you're probably struggling knowing how to connect authentically with your audience online right now. And if you actually want to share with me why you are here, that'll be great, because I can just customize this talk to suit you guys, because we are such a tiny group. That'll be perfect. I'm guessing if you are in business now, things have changed to you drastically because of COVID. You really need to improve your online game. A lot of clients have, but a lot of clients are still in denial. It's pretty tragic, actually. I live in Sydney. Walking around the streets of Sydney in any area, the amount of for lease signs is quite catastrophic. And, you know, people will say, oh, it's so sad, I'm really sorry for the retail industry, it's so terrible what's happening. But the writing's been on the wall for a very long time. And it sounds harsh, but if you're not reading the signs of your industry and understanding, or if you're going in, I think, Cassie, you're probably going into a business, I'm guessing, with you. Kill, there's so much noise on the internet. How to get up in front. Oh, right. I thought you meant there's so much noise. I'm like, oh shit, I've got to fix my technology. Yeah, how to get up in front. Yeah, I'll touch on that as we're going, because that is just a great question. Thank you, Kelly. So Kel's just saying, yeah, it's such a noisy place. And right now it's noisier than ever. And people are still in a bit of a state of shock. This has been an incredibly emotional time, and people are still coming out of it. We're traumatized. Like, I heard a really full-on stat the other day. Kelly's from Victoria, and I don't know if it's true because it was on Facebook, but the statistic was that 70%, or was it 30%? I think it was, whatever it was a stupid amount of number of kids. I think it was 30%, because I remember thinking that's too much, are on antidepressants right now for stress and trauma. School students, you know, having been homeschooled and, you know, thinking that they were out of the isolation, then going back into isolation. It's very traumatic. So can you imagine what that does to a population at large? You know, their buying habits, the way that they spend their money, what they choose to do in their spare time. You know, do they invest in business? Do they invest in employing people? Do they invest in getting premises? You know, so many businesses have gone out of, have just gone. And I think a lot of them use COVID as a bit of an excuse to close the doors of a failing business. But moving forward, you know, I've been in business for 21 years and it has changed so much. We need to be really, and I think one of the reasons why I've managed to stay in business is because I can roll with the resilience. I always talk about resilience, but I can roll with the punches and I can recognize what is coming up ahead of me. So I'm ready for it and I'm not reacting, I'm being more proactive. So I used this example the other day. You know, when I started out, when I went to uni, there were just computers coming in. And then when I went into my job, as a graphic designer, we made so many of the manual graphic designers out of work because they refused to learn computers. And then when websites come out, so many graphic designers lost a lot of business because they refused to learn how to do website development, but I didn't. And then when social media came in, a lot of people refused to learn how to, utilize social media properly and do their online marketing and utilize video and podcasting, and connecting with their audiences and trying and learning the new ways of doing things, even as that changes every time. Kelly and I had a great conversation the other day about Kelly helps me with some of my marketing sometimes, but Instagram reels, like you have to be at the forefront of what is going on. Doesn't mean you jump on every single trend and fad, but you still do need to be aware of what's going on and what suits you and what suits your target audience. Otherwise you are going to get left by the wayside. So you will notice about my style, I talk all around the place, and I'll just try and keep it as organic. And thank you guys. Cool. You're giving me some comments. That's really excellent. They might be coming up a bit delayed, but I really appreciate it because I can tailor what I'm going to say to you. So Cassie says, my new role as a children's bookseller is requiring me to be more online and engage with people through social media. I'm also looking to learn how to push my own thing as well to set myself up for the future. Oh, that's so fantastic, Cassie. Perfect. And you are so beautiful for social media. And I'm going to talk a lot about that as we move on. Authenticity. There's no point pretending to be something that you're not. And Kelly came through my connection marketing course last year. And when Kelly learned how to let go of her fear around, being seen and being vulnerable, and is she good enough to be seen, and actually realizing that her story is fantastic and that what she has to communicate with people is exactly what people need to hear, her particular target audience. And then she was able to start marketing like a crazy woman and making video and getting up on front. And so that's the whole thing is about, Kelly, you asked before about, it's so noisy in social media. And yes, it is incredibly noisy. And you'll become quite good at analyzing when you see people and they get up there and they're blah, blah, blahing all over the place and they're sounding quite noisy and maybe even impressive, but unless they're really understanding who their audience is and getting their message across to their audience specifically, it's just noise, and it will only ever be noise. But what the problem is, and even I found this because I took quite a bit of time out this year. I was working on a music project, which is a whole other side story, and I sort of let go of my online connection with my audience. It takes a little bit to build it back up again. You have to be consistent. Consistency is key. As soon as you drop off, somebody else comes in and can pick up. So, and I'll talk about that as we go through. And Eilish, is it how you pronounce it? Eilish? Hi, Melissa. I'm entering into BDM role and just want to be across how best to market the company on all levels. Oh, fantastic. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, that's great. I'm really glad to see you here. So very diverse businesses here. So hopefully I'll be able to help you. And probably I come from a really ground level, Eilish, on connection authentically, like I think you're coming from more of a corporate-y kind of place, but it's all the same. We're all human beings and we all just want to be spoken to and heard and felt like the other person cares in the way that they're marketing the business. So I use Mark Bouros as an example. Now he's very corporate. He is, what's he now? He's Yellow Brick Road, and he had Wizard Finance, I think it was. And now he's all over social media. He makes video daily. He is all over LinkedIn. He's all over my Instagram feed, and he's talking very much to every age audience. And he says to people, don't use technology as a hindrance to you. Don't think that it's something that you can't master at whatever age you're at. And this is what I was talking about before, when the writing's on the wall, and it's great you guys are here getting knowledge and learning about how to do things differently, because you have to do things differently, because the greatest thing you can do wrong in your business when it comes to marketing is be like everybody else. And we tend to be like everybody else when we're unconfident in who we are. We want to be liked. We want people to think that we're clever. We don't want to face any kind of criticism. So the danger in that is that then we become so vanilla that we don't actually stand for anything. And then it's really hard to actually even understand, well, what makes you different? What are you about? So for me, that's why I jumped on really a few years ago. I realized I'm in a very competitive industry, just using myself as an example in the marketing space. Everybody's out there talking. Everyone's promising the latest funnel to you, the latest social media hack, the latest everything. And quite frankly, while there are basic principles that you should follow, and I'll share them with you as we're going through this, the secret ingredient, the secret sauce is and always will be you or your people in your business. Even, I think, Eilish, you're in a bigger business. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to be getting that wrong. You've got a lot of people in your team. So there's nothing wrong with you putting your team out in front in your marketing as your point of difference, because it's humans solving problems for humans is what business is all about. And if you can make your marketing speak on that level, well, then you are already instantly ahead of every other kind of corporation. And I feel like if you're from, oh yeah, I thought you were, yeah. I didn't want to say, oh, you're from Access Plumbing. Yeah, I did do your website. That's right. Yeah. And I've spoken heaps actually to your guys in there. And I've said, so I hope you guys don't mind me sharing. And I said, you guys need to do video. You need to be connecting more to your audience. You need to be telling your stories, success stories. You need to be sharing a whole lot of the good stuff that you do, because you're a very big, and you can be a faceless company. Like your company, Access Plumbing, is turning over in the hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, so your problem is a very different problem to a company with a small income, but it's not really. Actually, you've all got the same problems, which is how do I make an impact to my audience? And if you just break it back down to the very basics of what connection marketing is all about, is humans speaking to humans, humans helping humans. And when you can actually understand who those humans are and what their pain is that they're suffering from and how you feel that pain. And I'm not just talking about like, oh, we just need to get, oh God, we just need to get this thing fixed over here because, you know, we don't run properly like that. It's really about, you know, if our machinery isn't working properly, you know, I can't employ my staff, I can't be productive, I have to let people go. If our productivity doesn't improve, or if our culture in our office doesn't improve, I'm losing good people because it's a toxic environment. I mean, there's a billion things that can go wrong when you understand that everything that we do in business is all about people. So I'll keep going through, but yeah, I hope that's probably the most important thing that you'll learn. And that's what I think people go, oh, but I wanted to get, you know, there must be a formula, there must be a hack, there must be a trick. And well, no, there's not. They're all just tools and methods and techniques. Until you understand the psychology of your audience, you're either going to fluke it and have great impact, or you're not going to have the impact that you want to get to the next level. And I mean, Access, you're an incredibly successful company, and I know that's been built on the back of a lot of relationships, but you know, you've got to maintain those relationships and maintain that industry standard and grow to the next phase of size, you know. And you can be the point of difference in your industry when you're talking about such a huge amount of income and revenue. You know, you still need to be growing, because these are real human beings that you employ that you need to keep feeding. You know, it's like this big enormous machine, whether it's a small one or a big one, and you need to be feeding that. So having a strategy is incredibly important, and yet it's something that people shy away from so much, which just blows my mind. So let me keep going. So I've spoken around a lot about this already, but I mean, this is a wonderful opportunity to do things better. And I think people are still in a bit of a state of panic with COVID and just wondering how it's all going to roll out for them. But the strategy is what's going to make the massive difference for you. Eilish, yeah, totally. And we do nothing online at the moment. Yes, I really know that. And I had the video conversation with your guys 2 years ago, and then a year ago, and then I was pulled in for a meeting, and then nothing. Yeah. And it's tricky because you guys are successful. So, but it's moving forward, isn't it? You know, and it's establishing the market and leaving the legacy, you know. So it's so interesting. So I've got people who are at startup phase here on the call, and then Eilish is, you know, like a top head of marketing for a multi-million dollar company. So it's a little tricky the way I'm doing the messaging, but anyway, bear with me. It is fundamentally all the same. So for you guys, you know me, so this is my team. I work with wonderful people. Collaboration is a really big thing about what we do. These are some actors and different, you know, professionals that I work with, videographers and copywriters and web developers. It's all pretty exciting. I have my online course open at the moment, which is connectionmarketing.online. I'll talk more about that later. My why. So my why has always been my kids. Now they're men though. So it's interesting. I'm going through a transition phase. My why is actually all about helping people who are wanting a better life to do their businesses better, and to not just connect to their audience, but to connect to themselves and understand what their purpose is and their mission in the world and make it a better place. So it's a pretty big lofty why, but it's a cool why. And when you understand that, you can market around that. And that is one of the best ways to stand out and to position yourself as being different. Again, like there's so many people in the marketing space talking about all the different funnels and the different strategies, and you can do this and you can do that, and it might work and it might not work, and you need a lot of money to invest into that. So I pull it right back to the basics with the connection and with the human interaction and understanding who you are and who you serve and what your purpose is. And then you can have by far a bigger dynamic impact when you really connect on that level. So my passion, and I think this is something I'll talk about too, is don't ever be afraid to show your passions in your marketing. And this can even work at your company your size, Eilish, with Access. That can be your massive point of difference. So you can talk about what the company's passionate about, or the projects that you're working on, or the legacies that you're leaving, or the charities that you're supporting. I know bigger organizations have, you'll have equal opportunity, employment, where you'll bring in people from disadvantaged backgrounds. Talk about those stories. These are real, again, human element stories. I have clients that are much smaller and they say, how can I stand out? And one strategy we've got going with a guy at the moment, he's up in the Sunshine Coast. I said, it's a very big sporty area. And I said, so why doesn't your company then, because their market are tradespeople. I said, why don't you make your market then, a way to connect with your market or tradespeople is that you actually get involved with the local sporting associations up there, but somebody who's got like a national athlete. So because he wants to have a nationwide business. So it's somebody from your local area, but they also have a nationwide reach, and you support them. And if you pick somebody in the field of athletics, using that as an example, they are poverty stricken. I know national level athletes that are going to international competitions, and they are scratching around just for $1,000 here or $1,000 there from people to help support them. So any small business can get behind somebody, from that, if that works for your target audience. Cassie, so your children's book selling, so you could be, doing stuff with different charitable organizations around the whole children's, people, disadvantaged children's particularly. Kelly just said, I love hearing the background stories and seeing what a business is doing in the community. Yeah, 100%. And there's the lady, God, I wish I had the stats in front of me, from Kick-Arse. That's like a stationery brand. So this is a very big, large national organization. And she sells stationery. So, her biggest competitor in the Kick-Arse, so it's very, very pretty. It's very feminine. It's very girly. It's very expensive too. So, you could go to Big W or Kmart and they've got some nice ranges there. Officeworks have got some nice ranges, or the next level up is Typo. They've got some really great ranges, and they're all a lot less money. Whereas the lady from Kick-Arse, though, she is running, it's, oh God, I wish I could remember what it was called, but it's an initiative she's doing online. It's all about being your better self and really taking people through with goal setting and being their best self and taking them on a journey. And I think it's an online course or something, like some sort of online movement. And she's running it and promoting it the way she is. I have to look it up. I'm being a bit vague in the way I'm describing it, but I'm just giving it to you as an example because she's created her own initiative, her own movement, her own charity. So people are falling in love with her brand and spending too much money on very expensive journals and stationery, but that's how she's engaging them. And it's had massive, massive follow through, and she's connecting back to charities and giving them money as well. So, it's the story that you tell and that you weave. And if you need to create it yourself, creating some kind of foundation, nobody is too small to create their own movement or create their own, Cassie, like you could do something about, you could create a book reading challenge and put that out there to a national audience. And you could go with some kind of sponsor or something who was bigger than you. So collaboration is going to be huge moving forward. Who do you collaborate with to grow your business? But if you collaborated with some larger organization who could support you in that, with that initiative, and you could create some whole thing with its own hashtag and a movement. It could have its own special week. You could get an ambassador to support it. You find some kind of celebrity or somebody, maybe somebody who, obviously has an author, maybe somebody sexier than an author, maybe somebody quite unexpected who's quite influential, and you can piggyback off their influencer brand. So not somebody that you're paying as an influencer, somebody who's passionate as well. That's why I sort of show this passion slide. You've got to tune into people that can help you and not necessarily have to pay them all the time, particularly when you're small. And if they believe in what you believe in and you guys all share the same values, you've got a much better chance of getting them on board. And then they can take a piece of the pie as well when you create this thing. So it's really, this is where the strategy comes in. So if you're sitting down and thinking like this, you are completely different to every other person in your industry if you actually create your own product. That's why I created Connection Marketing. That's why I created my own online course. That's why I have my own podcast. Like, I'm creating a connection movement. And I was talking with Kelly about this the other day, is one of my greatest points of difference, and I just share this with you because it's just trying to give you those examples, is self-belief. So you'll go to another marketing agency and they won't talk to you about self-belief. They won't talk to you about personal development. That's a massive part of my message, because I understand that is what's holding most people back from having a kick-ass personal brand and getting online. Oh, somebody waiting to come in. Okay, that's what's holding them back. So if I'm the person in my industry actually talking about that, well then how unique and special is that? And how much do I stand out? And how much does my loyalty and credibility go up because of that? Now, you guys have been sharing some things. Cassie said, yeah, there's a lot of organizations I'd love to get involved with. Yeah, 100%. I hope you like that example I just gave you, Cassie. And Kelly, especially right now with COVID, I'm finding I just want to do more example support local. 100%. Yeah, there's a big support local movement. And these days when somebody says support local, it can actually mean support Australia. You know, like I had 2 chocolates in my hand last night. One was Lindt chocolates and the other one was something from Byron Bay. Well, guess which one I bought, you know, as a gift for somebody? Of course, I bought the Byron Bay one. And this whole loyalty thing, shop loyal, yeah, it's a bit of a tired old message, but if you can like tweak it and really make it unique, and again, find ways to collaborate with other people in your industry or outside of your industry, that a part of your message, part of your passion, this is how you're going to grow and explode your business more. And it's so funny. I'm leaping all over the place. These are all strategies that I share with you in my presentation. And this is just turning into more of a chat, really, isn't it? But this is what it's all about. These are the things that you need to be working on in your strategy. So I'll keep flying through because I want to make sure I want to get everything in here. Now, I've talked about this, that everything in life comes down to human connection, humans just doing business with humans on any level, whether we're at your level, Eilish, or wherever we're at Cassie's level, which is just starting up. And Patty's just joined us, Patty. So I'm keeping this as a really small group today. So I'm just keeping this as a really informal chat. If you want to ask any questions, Patty, in the chat box, please do. And that's what I've been doing with the guys. I've been answering specific questions and just helping them out with stuff as I kind of move through. So please feel free to be part of that. So my promise to you is, which I've talked about, is that you want to really understand who your audience is. And I'll go into that in a minute. I want you to connect to your why. I've talked to you about that and why that's so important. And because ultimately it leaves you with confidence. And I want you to walk away from here with a very good understanding of the elements of what goes into your marketing strategy and the action plan. So the first thing about the strategy, and I've already talked about this a little bit, is this is the first things that I ask when I sit down. So I'll typically sit down with a client. We'll sit there for half a day and I'll just pen to paper and I'll write like a crazy person. These are the questions that I ask them. So these are the things I want you to ask. So take a screenshot. I'll give you the notes, or you can, you know, jot down yourself. Find out what makes you unique. There's no point spending a cent on marketing until you have a very innate sense of what makes you unique. And being unique is not fast, friendly service. Unique is really the things that, like your why, like I showed you before, your reason for doing business, the people that you help, the pain that they're in, and your unique solution to that pain. And if you can actually, like what I did with connection marketing, if you can actually trademark a name, create a name for the service that you provide and give it your own unique flavor, instantly you're unique and you're standing out. So connection marketing really is just relationship marketing, which is a term. But I kept realizing in all my conversations that I was having with people, the word connection just kept coming up. And it is a go forward, relevant, very relevant term at the moment. And I just thought there's something in this. And so I've captured the market. I've called it connection marketing for a reason, because, and people say to me now, oh, you're the connection marketing person. Yes, I am. So if somebody just wants to do a really boring, marketing presentation, or just, market around their company and not get their people involved and not put themselves at the front, not do video, not stand out for anything, then I'm not their person. And that's 1,000,000% cool. But people like you guys, you understand the human element of doing business, then I am your person. And it's all about the consistency of the message, getting that across with your strategy. That is what is going to get, like Kelly said, how do you stand out from the noise? That's how you stand out, is with the consistency of the message and turning up week in, week out. So you can get discouraged. So I'll use this webinar as a really great example. Like normally when I put on a webinar, I get, 50, 60, 70 people sign up, and then, you know, maybe, you know, 30% of people will turn up. But because the topic was so dry today, it was a small take up, very small take up, but I was quite surprised. And I just thought, well, there you go. People just need a sexier topic. You know, I say to them, create a marketing strategy and an action plan. It's not exciting. You know, so lesson learned for me with the way that I market it. You know, you have to dress it up to get the audience, but you don't just stop. You know, like some people will be like, oh, I'm so disappointed. You know, like you put out one blog and it doesn't get a great response, or you put out a video, it doesn't get a great response. You put up a webinar, it doesn't get a great response. It's just tweaking. Marketing is just a whole series of experiments really in what you're doing. And you test and measure everything. You look at what worked really well. You go, wow, okay. So when I actually marketed around that phrase or that thing or that product, you know, I did a thing 2 weeks ago where I put up how to create video and lose your nerves around that. That had huge response, huge amount of people signed in for that. Okay, so that's a pain point. That's a touch point for people. So I know that if I want to get a bigger audience or get in front of more people, that's something to market against. So, you know, and using a dry topic, not so cool, not so sexy, less response. So my point is this is a confidence game. You don't stop doing something because, oh my God, I tried that once and it didn't work. It's just something you need to test and measure. And so these are the strategies that'll help you get to it quicker. Are you unique? Who is your niche target audience? You know, like, can you niche down and get way more specific about who you're talking to? So Cassie, using you as an example, with the children's books, I'm not 100% sure what your business is going to be. Let me scroll back up and just see. Just even the children's book sales. So I guess it's just brand awareness and exposure, you know, for the job that you're in at the moment, like getting more out there. So it'd be, you know, speaking to specific groups, speaking to, you know, around whatever the topics are for children. Is it about improving children's ability to read and improving their confidence at school? Is it about, you know, is the target audience the parents that you're talking to? Are these, what type of demographic are these parents sitting in? You know, and actually that probably leads in very nicely to my next couple of slides, which I'll go across to. Here we go. Yeah, you know, what are their income level? What's their education level? Do they have interests and hobbies? What are their values? You know, the parents will have particular values. Where do they hang out? What movies do they watch? What music do they listen to? Do they have hopes and dreams for their kids? You know, are they a certain type of personality? Are they very, you know, are they high performing people? Are they people that have their own businesses? Or do they work for people? Are they people that work in public service? There's so many things when you're coming down to your target audience, and I can't stress to you enough how much time you spend in this area with your business around who you're serving. Because on the previous slide that I had was all about being unique, but let me go back. Actually, what was that? About being unique, and that you need to provide massive value, share your opinion, be uniquely you, but you need to know who you're talking to. And if you don't know who you're talking to, like down to the nitty gritty, and I know people, and this works really well, where they have an avatar, where they actually have, and they'll give that person a name. And so they say her name's Cheryl, you know, in your case, Cassie, you know, and they literally have a picture of her. And so they put her up on their pinboard and they have all the characteristics of this person there. So then when you're creating every piece of marketing material, every video, every blog post, you know, every social media post, you're just targeting it at that individual, that human being. Remember I said business is all about just humans doing business with humans. So you're targeting it specifically at that person. And you might have a female client and a male client. And in the course, Kelly will know this, I have like A, B, and C type target audiences. So, you know, which one are you going to, and who are you structuring your message specifically to? Because the more that it feels like to that person that you are 100% just in tune with them, it's like, wow, how did you get inside my brain? The more that you will get an impact for your marketing. So back to that was your question, Kel, earlier about how do you stand out in the noise? The more you fine tune that message, the more that you're talking specifically to that audience, the more that they will hear you. So, and the more it will resonate with them. And you don't want them just to hear you. They want you really want them to feel you. You really want them like to touch their heart and just to feel like they get me, they understand me, they got my back. And like from your point of view, Eilish, like this could probably all sound a bit, you know, airy-fairy, touchy-feely for you, you know, coming from a big, you know, heavy commercial plumbing background, but it's not, because you're still dealing with, you know, people who are running very large projects, and like they could be hospitals or education buildings and things. and they're running to timed schedules, and they've got their time is precious. They want to see their family. They have human issues too, and they want to work with a company that's going to turn up, not make their life a nightmare, not, you know, so that their best team member can't go to, you know, his child's birthday party because he's always coming back in to fix the problems that the maintenance company didn't fix. Like, oh God, I'm just pulling ideas out of my head here, but it can get down to that nitty gritty. So yeah, and there probably is. Oh, cool. Thanks, Patty. I'll read that in a second. It is something that bigger companies are frightened of getting down to the nitty gritty and getting really personal. But I think that can be your massive point of difference, that you are the company that gets personal. So, you know, thinking of you, just allowed access would be, wouldn't it be great to put out video that shared stories about your team leaders and actually showed behind the scenes of them being real people, and, you know, getting up, and we do this with real estate agents a lot, you know, getting up in the morning, they go to the gym, they meet with their team, and you might have, you know, a special needs person employed in that team, and you know, that's your bit you're doing for the community, and this is the charity that you're helping, and then this is the day in the life of you, and this is how you help the companies that you work with, and that real personal feeling, and so people actually kind of like, yeah, they're cool. You know, they're not big faceless corporation. I really get that company. I really feel that company. You know, it can work for bigger organizations. And I know there are bigger organizations doing it. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head, but I know there are, because I've seen some marketing around that. And I think that is so clever. You don't want to do it in a contrived way. It wants to be real. You really are using real people in your marketing when you do this. And that's the beautiful thing. So you're not using actors, you know, or beautiful models, you're using real life people. And what a way to surge forward, particularly with the emotional state that most people are in right now. And we talked about that with COVID. You know, this goes across the board, any size business this relates to. Patty, you just sent me a message, but it's private, so I don't want to I don't want to read it out in case you didn't want everyone to know. Oh, it's okay. Cool. Thanks. All right. I'll quickly read it out because this will help everybody. Our product is about fun, enjoyable cruises while watching private cruises, New Year's Eve, Xmas-like cruises. Can't identify pain points. Target audience is varied, corporates, families, couples. Talking to audience has been very broad for me. Getting the human touch, I'm thinking to do more personal videos, but apart from that, it's basically showcasing some of the photos of the experiences we offer. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a really excellent thing. So I would say, so you've got, straight up off the bat, you've got different target audiences. So you would be creating, this is probably where most companies go wrong. You need to create different pieces of marketing material for the different audiences. So you wouldn't just be doing it one size fits all. You might have a company video that kind of like goes out to everybody, but really your corporate clients are completely different to your family clients, which are completely different to your couples. So I can guarantee you what everybody is looking for is an experience. And I can guarantee you what everybody has a memory of is where, particularly in corporate, where they paid, or personally too, actually, where they paid good money and they got a shit experience. It didn't live up to expectations and it was really disappointing. They felt like they wasted their money. They missed the moment, they missed the opportunity. It might even have been a horror story if it was like an engagement or something like that, or a wedding where it got really butchered. So let me tell you, there are pain points everywhere you look. It doesn't matter who, because we're talking about people here. So people are just emotional and people have pain. Let me just have a quick drink of my tea. Yeah, so I think, you know, if we brainstormed on this, we could really scratch, and you think about some stories. And if you talk to people that are customers of yours now, you would find out there really are actually some issues that they have around it. It might not be burning pain that keeps them awake at night, but there would be some sort of deep level pain and disappointment of what they've experienced before. And if you could alleviate that feeling in other people when they're tossing up between your cruise and somebody else's cruise, if they know that you're absolutely meticulous to a T, and you share those stories around really how you created these exceptional experiences, that, you know, really maybe the human resources might say, you know, did incredible things for their company culture, or who knows, you could be actually putting on different experiences different to other people based around actually specific needs of a company or specific needs of a person. You know, being more customizable could be your point of difference. He said, yeah, okay, yes, I am hearing a lot that we are so easy to deal with, boat so clean, so much fun. Yeah, and that's like top level pain. But if we brainstorm on this and I got to know you better, I reckon we could get down and down and down into further deeper pain. And you could be having conversations in your marketing individual different types of marketing to individual different audiences, that would cut through a lot better. So let me keep going through, because this is what I typically do all the time, is go over time. And I won't do that to you guys today. So this is what I'm talking about: finding the pain and then serving up. So you lead in with your marketing message where you ask a question, you talk about the pain, you put it at the front of your marketing message, and then you address their fears and desires, and you speak in a language that the person's going, far out, that person is so in my head, I can't believe it. And then you show how you solve the problem. So you sort of wrap it up and you end it quite positively, where you show the problems that you solve. And other parts of the strategy of what you need to do when you're putting together your marketing strategy is, a lot of people, when I say to them, when I go in and sit down and do this one-to-one, I say to them, well, what do you want? What are your goals for the next year? Most people don't know. So they'll say some stupid thing like, oh, we just grow 10%. I'm like, really? That's it? That's all you want? Like, so really get clear cut on what you want. And this all comes back to connecting to your why. When you know why you're doing what you're doing and the impact that you make and the difference that you want to make and who you're helping and why it feels so bloody good, which is the whole reason why you're in business, because most people are in business. They went into business because they were good at something, but they stay in business because they actually love helping people fundamentally. So, this is all about understanding your values and your vision and your mission. And then we share that and communicate that back to your audience in your marketing. So can you see why? I don't know why people think putting together a marketing strategy is boring. Like, this is so exciting, because this is why people choose you. And this is why people, when they put out their marketing and it doesn't work, is because they didn't do this. They didn't put the strategy together and they didn't communicate the passion behind the business and the why. This is like the most important thing you'll do in any step of putting together your marketing material. Kelly, such a powerful message. Oh, thanks, Kelly. And so look, Kelly's a convert. She did the course, my online marketing course, last year, and went from being a very, very, very timid, very unconfident, to being a powerhouse now with the way you do your marketing. And her business is dairy-free store. So it's a wonderful online store you should check out if you want to eat or consume dairy-free products, which is very, very relevant. And that leads in beautifully. Are you relevant? Yeah, like Kelly has tapped in with her business. Incredibly relevant right now. People are thinking very much about their health. Everybody is actually half the people on the planet is lactose intolerant, just doesn't know it. So education is incredibly important. And that's how Kelly is now utilizing a lot of her marketing messages for her product, is that she's not putting up a picture of a product online anymore. She's actually putting up information pieces, and she's been making awesome recipe videos that shows people how to actually utilize her products and put them together and have family time. So she did this over COVID, where people were having tons of family time and needed activity. So she put together all these really awesome cooking videos and showing people, how you can spend this time and she's from Victoria, so she's had her kids at home a lot, and this can all be fun. So people that really exploded during this COVID time are people that had children's services, and I'm in a lot of different online marketing groups on Facebook, and people were saying that. They're going, God, if you have children's services right now, anything in education or anything around how to entertain kids, my God, promote and put that up, because it's so relevant right now. And then the thing, are you passionate? We spoke about that. What is your brand message? How do people perceive you? That's an interesting one. When I ask a client, what do people say about you when you're not in the room? What do people say about you that don't even know you? And this is a very good one for you to think about, Eilish, with Access Plumbing, is what do people say about, because you are actually controlling hundreds of employees and the brand messaging from that perspective. And I'm saying to you, make some of your employees your heroes. And I could have a private conversation with you later on, because I did this for a large company, and I haven't got their example here, but I did this with a camper trailer company who made all their sales reps, who are their customer facing people, made their sales reps heroes and made them rock stars in their industry. This is actually where connection marketing was born. So I can talk to you about that. That was how a big multi-million dollar company was able to humanize their brand and make people choose them. And their product wasn't as good as some other products, but they chose them because people fell in love with their people, and that works a treat. And we could get it to work for Access as well. So yeah, brand messaging is critical, and connection marketing is such a wonderful way to get that personality across to people. And so you're not just a faceless company. I was going to give an example of Michelle Bridges, but I'm actually going to skip through because I wanted to share some stuff with you and I don't want to run out of time. But if you're interested in looking at somebody who's just like catapulted herself and is a master of personal branding, you could check out Michelle Bridges. She's quite incredible. She is just essentially an aerobics instructor, but look at her achievements of what she's done. And she understands strategy like anybody. And she didn't fall into these things. These were all done calculated by collaborating, by understanding her brand, her message, her unique selling point, capitalizing on her personal brand and putting herself at the forefront. This is a client of mine, Steve Sid, who's a hospitality entrepreneur. I talk about him a lot. He catapulted himself to growing from, in 18 months of working with us and doing this connection marketing stuff, he went from one family dining restaurant to now over 24 dining concepts, 25 event spaces, and over 250 staff. He 20 times his business. And that largely came from getting confidence to market himself, understanding who he was, positioning himself as a hospitality entrepreneur, talking to his audience in a different way, in a more confident way, positioning himself as a leader. And then he got in front of the right influential people who then set him up into all these different restaurants in the club industry. And again, this was all done strategically. He didn't just wake up one day and all of a sudden got confident on camera and then just started winning all this work. We sat down and we strategized this. The question was, what do you want? I want more restaurants. I want to be more well-known. I want to be paid for my speaking. I want to have a great reputation. I want to be a consultant. Cool. Okay, let's do it. Let's get your brand out there. So we did lots of work with him. And it really, for the investment of what we did, I could honestly tell you it was probably about 20 grand from beginning to end. But the guy now has a business that is 20 times larger than what he had 2 years ago. So, I think he's not unhappy with his investment. And keep asking me a question, guys, if you like. I'm very conscious of the time. We've got 15 minutes left, so I'm happy to answer questions. I'll keep going through. One thing, if you're a smaller business, I don't know if this applies so much to you guys, so I'll rip through this. Just selling more to the clients that you already have is a really great step if you're struggling right now. Because it costs 7 times more to acquire a new customer. So one of the best bits of advice that I got last year from my business advisor was just to package up your services. When you're just going willy-nilly and customizing everything, sometimes people get confused. And when you actually package up your services and they can just see it in front of them and you get add-ins, I've got a whole series of pages of this. And I just basically, when I do a quote, I send this out to people and they just use it like a shopping list. So it's like, okay, well, I'll take this website package and I'll marry it with that photography package and I'll have it with that video package and I'll bundle it all together. Oh, and and you'll throw in your course and an email newsletter for nothing. Cool. I love packages. They're a wonderful way to really sell more to your existing audience. And it's like, do you want fries with that? And this can work for any business of any size. And don't ever assume that people know what you do. Never assume that they actually know all the stuff that you do in any of your industries of you guys that are here. Tip 3, I'm just going to rip through this because I want to get to the action plan stuff. Quality content is all about amplifying your message, becoming an epic storyteller and having a really strong lead magnet. I can do other education sessions on that, or if you go onto my website or onto my Facebook page, divinecreative.com.au. There's so much there. In my podcast, I'm putting up a lot of information on that. My Facebook at the moment, I'm doing live sessions every day at midday. And I'm actually, just to share a tip with you, so I do a live session, but I've also got, and I'm doing that today too, I've got a little video camera pointed on me. And so that's taking like a really nice video. I've got the microphone. So it's going up as a live video. It's being cataloged there, but I'm also creating the live video. The other video that I've got, which is much nicer, higher quality. And then I'll give that to my assistant and then she'll splice that all up and create smaller videos that I can market against. And then we're going to extract the content from that as well and create podcasts from that. So, having the ability to create your content and then also repurpose it is essential. And I teach a lot of that in the connection marketing course. And this is really important, the giving value bit. Now, the reason why I talk to you first I'm just giving you a little snippet about the content marketing because it's so important, is if you didn't do the first steps in the marketing strategy, this bit where you're just giving value is hit and miss. You could be putting up value for people that they just don't want. it's just not what they're interested in. You might not have been relevant. Remember, I asked that question back in the marketing strategy bit. Are you relevant? Is it what people are wanting right now? No, it's not. You might be selling that thing, but that doesn't apply to me during this period right now where I'm cash strapped. Like, Australia is officially in a recession. So I know people don't want to hear it and they're not talking about it much. I've got a client in the insolvency space and they're talking about it a lot. And Australia is very much in a recession, and we need to reinvigorate the economy. So, anything that is actually about reinvigorating and helping people out that are tight, strapped for cash is going to be something that's relevant, and giving value for people so that they can take it away and exercise you, try you out, test you, and then like you enough that they come back and actually want to do business with you is one of the best ways to get clients. So people are very worried about hanging on to all of their intellectual property. But if you don't share your content in this day and age, you don't share your knowledge, then people will just move on to the next person that does. It's not about advertising in the yellow pages anymore and throwing up a $20,000 ad. It's very much about creating engagement and connecting on a daily basis across multiple platforms. And that all comes down to, so that's the next part of the marketing strategy, is having your content strategy. What are you going to do? What platforms are you going to speak on? Who are you going to speak to? What's their pain? So can you see how it's all kind of interlaced? Like, you can't do this step without having done the previous steps before it. And this is the formula that we talk a lot about in the connection marketing, is about the desire. Somebody has a desire or a pain for what you have. You create a connection with your content and your material. It's like, oh my God, being authentic, understanding who they are, connecting to your why, sharing that message. Oh my God, they're just like me. That's amazing. And this works for any size business. Then you create the trust. So you actually demonstrate your expertise, through your blog posts, video, content, webinar, that kind of thing. The credibility comes in it when you have testimonials where you actually show the evidence of people having success. Like my client, I don't accidentally share that story with you about Steve Sid, the hospitality entrepreneur. Like, we had massive, wild success with him. There's my credibility, this works. And then the value is then, in this example, my webinar. A huge value. Like, hopefully you guys can get a lot of points that you can take away and exercise and do something and get a very positive result immediately. And then in turn, when the time is right, if you want to, you can come back and then become a client. It's, or not, it's okay, because this is just one big funnel. When you've heard that phrase, the sales funnel, all the activities at the top, and people just go down the funnel deeper and deeper and deeper into being a client. Some people never get out of the top part of the funnel, which is where all your free stuff and your giveaway is, where you're building the credibility and the value. Some people will just stay up there, and that's totally cool, because there's plenty of people that will just catapult themselves down to the bottom of the funnel, which is like, be your biggest advocate and buy every single product that you have. So, that's where the amplification comes in. And that's why you need the strategy around how you're going to get that message out there. So you're just casting your message out to a wider net. Oh, Kelly said, absolutely love the way you explain things. Why, thank you. I explain things really basic. I know, I get it. I used to think that was an actual problem. And then it turns out it's not. It's actually my point of difference that people love. So thank you very much, Kelly. And, I could have stopped presenting because I thought my language was too basic and too simple. And then it turns out, after all the feedback I got, that is exactly what people want. And it doesn't matter what level of business they're at. They love the simplicity of it. So sometimes we think our worst feature is, we think what is our worst feature is actually our best feature. And that's why always test and measure, always ask questions from people that you can trust their feedback. Now, these are all different things with the content marketing. I will send this slide to you. I can't talk to you about this, the whole thing, because talk about all this would take all day. Just understand that your content provides solutions and builds relationships. Relationships are built on trust, and it's the trust that creates the sales. And this is the whole point of why we do the marketing strategy, to get to this point as to then how can we put together really good content that is compelling, that creates trust, because that's when somebody trusts me, when they know, like, and trust me, and they believe that they can actually do what it is that I say, that you'll get the sale. So it is a formula to a degree, but the way that you fulfill that formula is entirely unique. So I know there's no quick answer. Strategic alliances, we talked about that before, so I'm just going to whiz through that, but this is very valuable exercise for you to do. Basically, just in the outer ring, just put down all the different industries of people that you know and who you can connect to. In the center, you put the pain. In the outside, you have all the different categories of the people that you can get to. And then, like, you can see the top for me, you could put up the top there, industry business coaches, accountants, and advisors. Well, then I would just go through my LinkedIn and my Facebook and my little black diary, whatever it is, and then ask all those people that I know in there to get me in front of their audiences to grow myself bigger. So that's how strategic alliances work. They are an amazing way to grow really quickly. And that is exactly how Access turned into a multi-million dollar company in a very short period of time from the incredible strategic alliances that they had. The high level ownership of that company and the connections they have is through the roof. And, you know, if you're connected to people, don't be afraid to ask people for help. Action plan. This is what I wanted to get to. This is incredibly important. You can have the best, sexiest, funnest, most engaging marketing strategy in the world, and you can put it in a drawer and nothing happens. Or you can create an action plan where you've got the set goals and then you break it down into little chunks that you can eat off one at a time. So that analogy is how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So you just turn it into being very small little chunks that you can do, because when you just put up the task or the goal, it's very, very overwhelming. Now, this is a very dull looking document, but this is an action plan. So basically you can see up the top here is you break down over the next 120 days or next 100 or 90 days, whatever you want it to be, you break down each one of your goals. So for this one, the real life example I use is creating an online course for a small business. And then, so that's the goal. If I just had a to-do list and I wrote that goal down, I mean, how lame would that be? That would just be, I would look at that and I'd just be like, I am never, ever going to get that done. That is just too big. That's too immense. How am I ever going to create an online course? Oh my God, I don't know the first thing about it. So you need to break it down into chunky little pieces. So you'll chunk it down into, the next one I said was develop the strategy for the online course for a divine client. Okay, so what's the strategy? Put that in there. And then, but I would chunk that down even further into other pieces. So you can see my point too is develop the content for divine small business course. So then you can see I go across to the right and I've got who's going to action it is me. What time frame? It was going to take me 2 weeks to do that. I was dreaming it took longer. But I said, okay, 2 weeks. So then if I wanted to, I didn't show it in this diagram because I wanted to show you the overall arching thing, but I would break that down again. So then I would be like, okay, the course is broken up into 8 chapters. Each chapter I'm going to research. Each chapter has probably 10 modules inside of that. And each one of those modules I need to research. And so each module probably takes 2 days each. So then I would break that all down. And then I would break that down even further if I wanted to. It's like, well, I don't have 2 days, but you know what? I do have 2 hours a day. So between the hours of 8 and 10 in the morning, I will work on that until it's done. And so you break it down into your schedule. And that's how stuff happens. When you look at a task and it's so big and overwhelming, and you feel like, well, I don't have 4 days to execute a new website or do my marketing strategy, but I bet you can find 1 hour a day or half an hour a day or 2 hours a day to do that. And then you'll find at the end of 2 weeks, it's done. And people go, well, 2 weeks, that's too long. Well, it's like, well, you never found the 2 days or the 4 days to do it, did you? So at least now it's done at the end of 2 weeks. So does that make sense? I mean, to me, that was just gold when I discovered that. You know, it's just, we have so many big to-do lists. Everything seems overwhelming. And this action plan is what changed my life with getting the course done. I had spoken about putting my online course together for years. Finally got it done when I did this, when I broke it down into these steps, and I just did it. So, and when I say just did it, like I just did it in pieces. I allocated 1 day a week to getting the scripts done. I allocated half a day to getting the videoing done and then another half day to actually getting up online. And I just kept a week ahead of myself. So I was actually rolling out content a week ahead of the people doing the course. So there's nothing like having a bit of a, you know, something up the back of you as well, kind of like get stuff done. Rightio. So this is the homework I want you guys to do because we're coming to the end of the hour and I wanted to just talk to you quickly about my online course, if I can. I want you to triple your current communication with your potential clients and your current clients. I just want you to do that. Just see how you go. See if you get more exposure, see if you feel more comfortable. And I want you to understand that as a business owner, 80% of your time really should be spent on sales and marketing. You need to get to a position where you can get people either helping with your marketing or you get people doing actually the nuts and bolts of your business. And your job as a business leader is actually sales and marketing. So you really need to understand that. And then I want to talk to you really quickly about my online course. So for some of you, this might be relevant. Basically, it's open right now. It's 8 modules. The first module is talking to you all about, here we go, talking to you all about your marketing strategy, your action plan. We're going into greater detail, far greater detail, social media plan, a content plan, how to do your online sales funnels. And then it's all about, then we have other weeks we're talking all about content creation and explaining to you why you would have a podcast, why you would run webinars and how to do it. We spend a very big module talking to you about video, all things, social media, joint ventures, strategic alliances. It's all in there. It's pretty extensive. It is very chunky. I've also got some mini courses that I'm putting into the actual whole connection marketing, which is a whole section on personal development, because I found that people actually don't have the confidence to do this stuff. And that's what holds them back from buying into courses. They want to buy into a course when they feel like they don't have to do much work and it's got a magic fix for them. But when I make no bones about it, if you come into my course, there's actually a whole lot of work to do and a whole lot of strategy and a whole lot of development. But when you nail that and and that's why I put in the personal development section, when you nail that, there's nothing that will stop you. You will employ the people that you need to help you. You will make it happen. You will do the exercises that you need to do to get your business out there and more exposed to a greater community. And then I also have another module on how to create your own videos, because that can be quite expensive. And I know we're all on limited budgets. So the more you can create your own videos and content, the better. So my online course is, and of course you can work with me one-to-one. So, like Eilish, you guys might want to actually speak. Yeah, I know, that's totally cool. Thank you very much, Eilish. You guys, I'll speak to you one-on-one. Like I have clients that do this work with me one-on-one. I just want to say that. The investment is far greater. That's why I actually have the course, because I wanted to do this with small business owners who deserve to get this kind of information and can't afford to do it one-to-one, but they can afford to do it in an actual course. So the investment is, if you're going to pay upfront, it's $12.97, and that lasts until tomorrow night. And then the price goes back up to $17.97. But I'm actually going to close the doors tomorrow night, and they won't reopen again, I think, not until March or April next year. So let me have a quick drink. And the reason why I do that is just pure human psychology. I want people to come through the course and just step through it. Week by week by week. And we have a Facebook group which we come into every Monday, which is probably one of the greatest strengths of the group. Kelly's in there already because she's part of the course. Pardon me. And it's a really great group. On every Monday morning, I speak for half an hour to an hour, give an information session like this, but just drill down into more detail. So I might talk about strategic alliances for the whole week, about that whole session, or just video for the whole session, or self-confidence for that whole session. And we do questions and answers, and I can help you out and answer them specifically for you. If you find $12.97 is a bit of a stretch straight up, we can do 6 monthly payments of $250 each over 6 months. So if you're looking at this kind of investment, like clients that are doing this with me, they are paying $4.5 grand just for the marketing strategy. And then for the ongoing monthly coaching one-on-one is $13.20 a month. So I've got clients spending, close to 20 grand a year on pretty much the same stuff. They do get more one-on-one with me, obviously, but it is the same content. It is the same stuff. Just with the online course, you're driving it more, guiding yourself through it. And I just believe that I really wanted people to be more, have this available to them, and it's totally up to you guys. It's no big deal if you don't buy into the course. It's totally cool. I just wanted the opportunity to let you know. I have loved giving you this education. I've also got, it is. Thanks, Patty. It is really reasonable. And look, it's only going to go up as well. Like, this is only 1 year open. So as I update material and get, more and more exposure at this and get the word out there, I will be pushing it up to $2 grand. Easily, because the courses I buy into for stuff, and I'm in one all about money management, that's $3 grand buy-in, so, and they have a Facebook group, and they only meet up once a month. I meet up once a week. So yeah, it's really great. It's an excellent course. So I just did a Facebook group before this, and now I'm just doing this. I probably should have had a gap in between. So connectionmarketing.online is where you'll find it. I'll send you the details in an email though. And if you are wondering if this is for you, happy to have a chat with you too between now and tomorrow. If you wanted to jump on the phone or Zoom quickly, we can have a quick 20-minute chat and see if it works out for you or not. It's totally cool. And yeah, if you've got any questions, feel free to ask them now. I'll hang around and we can have a quick chat session. Or if you need to go, because the 1 hour's up, I'm really, really, really trying to stick to the 1 hour, which I've done an amazing job this time. Happy just to let you all go. That's totally cool. Or if you want to ask anything in the chat box, ask away, or we can have a private chat afterwards. That's totally cool too.